The following program contains mature subject matter. Viewer discretion is advised.
I haven't seen anyone in a while, and I'm wondering, are there any side effects to not having sex? Thank you, guys.
Dr. Nita, people have this question, don't they?
There are lots of healthy, happy, abstinent people out there. So abstinent, yes. Did you say really?
For guys, they say it's like a Ferrari. You gotta run that thing. You can't just let it sit in the garage.
Well, I mean, sometimes women want to close their garage. Like, you close their garage door.
What effects can this dry spell have on your body and your mind?
Well, I think when we list, again, all the benefits of sex in that it reduces stress, it improves sleep, it improves your immune system, it allows for you to have a boost in your mood, it regulates the mood as well. It can also have massive positive impacts on your heart health and on your genital health and your pelvic floor strength. And so when you're not engaging with those parts of yourself, you could see a decline and an increase in stress, an increase in sleeplessness, and an increase in issues when it comes to mental health. So there are massive impacts to not having not just sex, but sexual connections that lead to intimate bonds.
Shan, give us some tips for singles who are starting to get back as we're inching our way.
Sex is everywhere. It's in the news, in the YouTube videos you watch, and practically every television show or movie you've ever seen. But what happens if you never have sex? Would you explode? Would you die? The answer might surprise you. Even if you don't know what you're missing, your body does. It's important to remember that everyone is unique and everyone's body will react in different ways. But let's look at some common physical and mental side effects of never having sex. First, we'll look at the physical ramifications to the body if someone never has sex. There are a lot of misconceptions about what'll happen to your body from lack of sex, which we'll debunk later. But the truth may be even scarier. Men who have regular sex and ejaculate more frequently have a lower risk of prostate cancer. This means if you never have sex as a male, you're actually at a higher risk of getting prostate cancer. The reason for this is because humans evolved, like all living things on this planet, to be reproduction machines. Whether you like sex or not, your body's main purpose is to reproduce, because that's how all living things evolved. The body needs to release old sperm in order to create newer, more viable sperm. Just like with other equipment, if the male genitalia is not frequently used, there can be problems or a breakdown in the system. It's not yet clear what the precise cause of prostate cancer is, but studies suggest that men who have frequent sex or ejaculations tend to have a lower risk. So if a male never has sex, he should be at least masturbating. This will be a common theme here, because some of the benefits of sex can also be obtained from self-release, but not all. Either way, if you're a male who never has sex, you should consider doing regular prostate checks. For females that never have sex, there are different repercussions to the body. Sex strengthens the pelvic floor muscles that support the bladder. If a female never has sex, they may find themselves with a weak bladder. This could lead to leakage or incontinence. Sex is a physical activity, and the muscles involved need a workout every now and then. If you never have sex, these muscles aren't exercised, which leads to them becoming weaker. Turns out that if females are not strengthening the muscles used during sex, it can lead to negative effects on other body systems. That being said, females can also achieve the benefits of sex from self-pleasure as well. It turns out that in humans, just simulating the act of sex can trick the body into providing many of the benefits associated with the act. Another negative effect women who never have sex may encounter is that the vagina may be drier than someone who is engaged in sexual activity. This is not necessarily a problem, other than it can be uncomfortable. So if a female has never had sex and feels discomfort in her genitalia, it may be because of a lack of lubrication around the muscles and organs. Again, this problem can be solved by masturbating. At some point in their life, someone who has never had sex may want to engage in the activity. If this is the case, the lack of sex in previous years may hinder the carnal act. If someone has gone their whole life without having sex, it could take longer than expected for arousal to begin. This could happen because the body would be feeling all new sensations, and since they would be different than anything felt before, it could take a while for the necessary fluids to flow. This seems counterintuitive, since you would expect someone's body who has never had sex to be raring to go. However, the longer someone goes without ever never having sex, the longer it takes for the body to prepare for the activity. Your body needs to create and dump hormones into the bloodstream and then increase the blood flow to areas of the body that have never or very infrequently been used. This can take a while, especially for someone who has never had sex before. Whether someone is male or female, never having intercourse can be connected to higher blood pressure. There are several studies that show people who have regular sex tend to have lower blood pressure. Therefore, the opposite can also be true. Someone who has never had sex may have higher blood pressure than if they did have coitus. The most likely reason for this is because there is a correlation between having sex and the lowering of stress hormones in the body. If a person never has sex, those same stress hormones will be higher. Someone who has more stress tends to have higher blood pressure. This is a serious health concern a celibate person should be aware of. They should absolutely find other ways to lower their stress levels and blood pressure. Like we've said before, this can be done through masturbation, but there are other options as well, such as meditation. Again, our bodies evolved to be sex machines, therefore they expect to have a release every now and then.
Sex. It means more than just penetration to us. It's not just a physical connection, but an emotional connection to us too. Now, I don't know exactly how men view sex, but it is clear we don't view it in the same way. Although sex is our deepest form of love, it also has to be fulfilling. However, when the love is a strain and the attraction is fading, a woman's sexual drive can also be reduced. There are so many reasons that we stop wanting sex, and some are not caused by men. It's caused by our own individual fights that we face as women. Now, to understand why your woman may have stopped wanting sex, you have to understand her personality and individuality. However, there are some reasons that we both share for not wanting sex. And here are the top 10 reasons why. You're incapable of turning her on. Dear men, when you force yourself upon us with your magic stick, whilst we aren't turned on, it isn't a good move. It may be painful for us, or at the very least, makes you seem very self-serving, engrossed in yourself and your own pleasure, and not the pleasure for you as a duo. It gives us bad memories of sex and makes us not want it. Sex is pleasurable when you're both turned on, because we're going to be engaged in it emotionally and physically and be wet in all the right places. Guys, you can pleasure yourself when you're alone, which you might as well be doing if we aren't turned on.